pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do a roll call, starting to my right, Justin Doyle, Andrew Greenwood,
James Ramel.
we have no council business. We have ordinance 2022-01, amending the zoning map from AG-R3. I believe we have the petitioner here, and they would like to make a presentation.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Dofer, Director of Land Entitlement for Silverthorne Homes. We have been before you a few meetings at this point, but I just wanted to go over the project again since this is the last council meeting within the 90-day window. Next slide, please. Just to introduce who we are Silverthorne Homes. We have been a local Indiana builder for about the last 28 years. Next slide, please. The property that we're looking at is on the west side of State Road 135. It's about 69 acres. It's also bordered by the railroad tracks. Morningside subdivision is on the west, and then we have the fire department on the east. Next slide, please. The zoning map and current zoning today is zoned agriculture. We do have some R3 zoning on the west and then some commercial to the north. Next slide, please. Looking at the future land use map, this area is contemplated for mixed use, and so we did take that into account when creating the concept plan for this property. Next slide, please. Looking at the comprehensive plan as a whole, we took into account the land use and housing portion, which states that ideally promote controlled sustainable growth and development that is appropriate to adjacent land uses and the town of Bargersville. Next slide, please. And then the land use goal, encourage wooded and environmentally sensitive areas to be maintained and included as part of the development. And parks and recreation, implement highly requested park facilities such as the splash pad and or dog park. Next slide, please. So taking all those into account, this is the concept plan that we have before you. We are requesting to rezone to R3 from the current agricultural zoning. This would only take effect on the 69 acres, not on roughly 20 acres along State Road 135. Our project proposes 159 single-family homes. These would be our Silverthorne line homes, and preserving about 29% common area or 19.7 acres. Next slide, please. Our proposed amenities include 1.25 miles of trail within the development, a 3-acre dog park, and picnic area, a couple pocket parks, and sidewalks throughout the development as well. Next slide, please. To go into our Silverthorne line of homes a little bit, we have 11 floor plans, both single and 2-story, with sizes ranging from 1,800 to 3,300 square feet. And those are just our base sizes too, so we have options that increase the square footage from there. And these are hardy plank siding homes, so vinyl is prohibited in this development. Next slide, please. And here is a character exhibit that was a part of the discussion at Planning Commission. This is officially part of the PUD that just better shows the range of architectural styles. So as you can see, we have Tudor, farmhouse, craftsman, and traditional. And this just sets the bar for the caliber of homes that should be in this development. Next slide, please. Every homeowner gets to go through our 3,900 square foot design center, where they get to talk with our professional design staff and choose every individual option of their home. Unlike some other builders, we do not offer packages, and we find that that creates some more variety within our houses. Next slide, please. Here are the proposed commitments that we have attached with the rezoning. The bottom 3 commitments specifically came out of discussions with the Planning Commission. And just to go over the commitments as a whole, we are capping the maximum number of single-family homes. This will be single-family only. The gross density has been capped at 2.32 units an acre. We have also committed to minimum lot sizes and minimum floor areas for the homes. We have an amenity commitment such as the dog park, and picnic area, that being a certain size of a minimum of 3 acres. The trail system has been added. We have the 30-foot buffer, which is buffer zone A, and that is the most intensive buffer, just anticipating whatever commercial should be developed along State Road 135 in the future, that our buffer has been, or that we have accommodated for that. We have also committed to a minimum of 12.5 acres of common area. And then we have placed 2 trees in the rear yards of perimeter lots acting for Plan Commission, and then the character exhibits, which was the slide. Slide, please. And to go over the timeline of this project, we originally met with staff about this property back in October, and through a lot of collaboration, it's turned into the project that's before you today. We met with Plan Commission back in January, and we did receive a positive recommendation. And then we've been to council a few times. The second council meeting is when a traffic study was requested, and we have completed that, sent it to staff. And with State Road 135 being NDOT controlled, we have received recommendations based off of that traffic study, and are in talks with NDOT about specifically what improvements are going to be required. And we are comfortable with committing to continuing to work with NDOT on those requirements. Next slide, please. In summary, we're really excited about this project. We think it's a great fit for Bargersville and the area. We think the Silverthorne line of homes is a good fit for the area. And just looking at all of the individual fees that would come from this project, Silverthorne Homes would be essentially paying $1.6 million through fees over the life of this project. So we think it's a great economic benefit to the town as well. And with that, happy to turn it over for any questions.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess I'll make a statement that personally I have a lot of concerns over the traffic on 135. I think it's been discussed. All this is mixed use. This is a mixed use area designed by our comp plan. That's not a mixed use development. That's just a residential development behind proposed commercial. I don't believe that the density in the project accretive to the town, and so those are my opinions. So I will entertain a motion. Or questions or comments? The rest of the council.
Make a motion to reject ordinance 2022-01.
Motion by Mr. Doyle.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Cole. All those in favor of the motion to reject the ordinance, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, 5-0. Thank you. Okay, next up, we have the town council meeting minutes, March 29th, 2022.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to approve meeting minutes from March 29, 2022.
Motion by Mrs. Pauls. Second. Warren. I will accuse myself, but I'll ask for a vote since I wasn't there. All those in favor?
Aye.
Two abstentions, so
Oh, two
3-0 on that one.
302.
302. Proper scoring. That was from that at home. Yeah. Okay. Mr. Stone, believe you're here for this next presentation.
Good evening, it's good to see everybody. I am here to talk through some of the options with regards to Kephart Park in preparation of the bid opening and subsequent award. I believe in your packets you received a bit of information. Just quickly for the benefit of the audience, with this project we're proceeding with a total anticipated cost, so we're looking at a variety of different options to fund. Option one would be a scenario whereby town cash on hand is pulled and used, which would be a 100% cash funding project. Option two is really kind of a hybrid decision whereby there's certain cash used specifically, and then a long-term debt instrument proceeded forward, and then option three would be a full debt-only option. In my professional opinion, this is maybe one of the first times that I have actually personally encountered where there is not a black and white best choice here. I think I've had the opportunity to talk to many of you about this, and even in those conversations, what I think has come up is that this is really more of a personal preference, and it's really why I think members in this body such as yourselves are why you're where you're at, is to make these types of decisions. And my goal is, as your advisor, is to try to help give you pros and cons of each of those. Make sure that we've provided you as much information to make the best decision that you can at this point in time for the town. So I'll just quickly run through some high level, and then I'll have all the information here on my laptop, and I'm happy to help answer any questions you may have in preparation of this. So starting with cash on hand, so in this scenario, it would be funding the project out of cash. A couple high-level pros and cons. Obviously, one of the pros is that you preserve future bond capacity for something else, right? Bargersville is growing dynamically. There's a lot on the project list now and in the future, so that just essentially provides additional capacity for a project that's either currently known and not yet publicly bid, or something that's not even known yet. Obviously, it does lower the total actual cost of the project as it relates to, you wouldn't have the interest costs, you wouldn't have the issuance fees, those types of things. Downside to that is that it does lower cash reserves quite a bit. So that while we have modeled it and looked at the cash flows for the years, and all of that checks out and meets all of the reserve requirements that you passed as a body last year, more than adequately covers that. It does utilize cash reserves that have been accumulated. Looking at option two, which is the blend, it is where it picks up some of the pros that the all bond option has. It preserves town cash on hand, specifically preserves the general fund cash, parks and recreation cash, those kind of things. It still takes advantage of some of the other cash sources that are available, while at the same time with the cons, with a hybrid, assuming 50%, you're not going to get that 50% savings on the issuance costs. So you're essentially going to market, you're going through all of that process. So your effective APR, if you will, is actually slightly higher in that case. And then the third option, obviously, is no cash, 100% loan to value, in that case, traditional bond. In that case, even at the time of this writing, historically low interest rates is changing by the day. But yeah, and so take that with a grain of salt. You are able to amortize the project over a much longer term. We've illustrated with amortization using the 20-year payback period. So there is an accounting principle that you want to match expenses and revenues with that. So with the park, you think about how long-lived that asset's going to be. So certainly amortizing that cost for both current and future taxpayers is very justifiable. It does preserve cash. Depending on who you listen to and what your personal views are and how the economy is where it's going to go from here, I don't know, and that's not what I do for a living. My job is to try to provide as many options and protections for you all, and so that's something to consider. And then as far as any kind of downsides to the debt-only option is it does increase debt, and with debt comes leverage. So in this case, This would not be a general obligation bond likely. This would likely be a lease rental back or a park district bond. All of those are perfectly legal and within your constitutional authority, but it is additional debt. So with that comes the interest costs, the issuance, interest rates, those kind of things that all have to be weighed and considered. So as your advisor, as your representative, I would tell you that I really don't think there is a right or wrong option at this point in time in light of what I know with what the other plans of the town are. I think I think one of the conversations I had, I think was the most tough. I think in 20 years, we could look back and be like, yeah, we should have probably done this, but without having the benefit of hindsight, I hope that helps lay out the options before you all. And we have circulated each option through staff, and this has been well vetted. Obviously, all the estimates and costs are still subject to bidding and all of that. But we've tried to put together a packet that hopefully calculates the boundaries of the decision, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have here in help of getting to a solution.
Adam, if we go to a hybrid or a debt financing, when would that go out to market? It's just changing quarterly right now.
Yeah. We're actually in a project right now where within the last couple of weeks, we went up 100 basis points on that project. I would say conservatively from this point forward, you have teams already assembled. We have not been in a vacuum on this, so we've been talking with them, but the reality is all of that would still have to go. So conservatively, I would say from tonight, maybe 90 days from closing. You might be able to beat that, but there's a lot of other communities doing the same thing. So that we have that working against you.
I don't think I'd be a proponent to finance the whole thing. I would be more inclined to do a hybrid situation.
And I like the fact that we have options that are not.
Our decision might have been different last year.
Well, I think, if you think about where we were when the pandemic hit and we went through a budget season and we were cost conscious, we took 10% out of our budget and could not have a 10% hit to our revenues. It actually went the other way. So we are very financially strong right now. Very financially strong. And that's a testimony to our predecessors on this council and then what this council has done. And so the reason why I believe the hybrid is the right choice is because I don't think this council and the future councils are going to slow down. I don't think the growth is going to slow down. It might modestly slow down because of the economy and other things, but there's going to be opportunities and the desire to do more. And so with that, I don't know that we're ever going to be able to borrow at this level of an interest rate. And so I believe we have a ton of cash in my world, at our resources. So I think the hybrid is, for me, that is the personal best choice to take on a little bit of debt and use this. I think we were super successful with what we did on the police station, the utility bonds. We're borrowing at rates that for some of us, seem ridiculously low, and that's not going to be the case with this inflation that's coming. We're seeing it. So I'm excited about the fact that we're no longer talking about whether or not we should do Kephart Park. We're having a conversation about how we're going to pay for it, and we have 3 options. So that's really a testimony to the work that you've done as well.
This is a team sport. I will tell you that for me, what you said, is exact. I think the luxury that Bargersville is having right now is you have the luxury of an option, and that is rare. There's a lot of communities that would love to do a project at this scale and scope, and getting one option would be good. So I think that's unique, and I think I do just want to say I think you all have done the diligence, looked at this and talked, and tried to figure out something that's going to make sense for this project. Within something we've talked with staff about is repeatable repeatable projects. We want to be able to make sure that this isn't the project Bargersville does, and then 10 years before the next thing. So I think in any of these options, you don't really sacrifice that. And so I think in this case, that setting you up to be able to have repeatable projects is important.
Future options as well.
Yes.
No, I mean, it's like I said, 2.6, I hope you're right. I hope we can get it to 2.6, it'd be anything but 3 still, is a great rate. And to be able to, just like you said, I mean, to have the amount of cash that we have on hand, to be able to have an option, and then to be able to keep a little bit of that cash available for some things that come up, for, you know, it's.
Yeah, I mean, we're not touching the rainy day fund. We're not, I mean, we've been very fiscally conservative and are still, and responsible, and they're still able to do this.
Do we need a motion or consensus?
No, motion.
Motion.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we go the hybrid route to finance the Kephart Park.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Claus and a second by Mrs. Moore. All those in favor? Aye. Aye.
Congratulations. We'll start working with the right folks and kicking that off. And I know that time is of the essence on that, so expect in future meetings those announcements. Okay? Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Good evening.
How are you?
So the first item I have for you tonight is the annual TIF management report. Baker Tilly prepared this, and we are presenting that to council, and we'll be presenting it to the RGC on Thursday, and it will be uploaded to the state for the April 15th deadline. There's no official action needed by council. It is just on the record that we are filing this.
Are there any questions about it? James? Okay.
It's good.
Thank you.
Thank you. First item I have for your consideration tonight is on the police station project. Unfortunately, I have 2 change orders for you tonight. First is change order number 13. This is related to electrical changes. This resulted from discussions on a meeting we had with the electrician. It's been a minute since we had that meeting, but
This is the floor boxes, telecom, changing stations, all these fire
fire alarm changes.
It's fire alarm, right?
Yeah,
Not
it
firm
says
alarm.
firm alarm.
Yeah, it is a
Sure,
fire
I'm not-
alarm, and that is a typo.
No worries. But we had one that went our way.
We
We had a savings.
did have a savings in one area, but
Are there any questions for Julie? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve change order 13, in the amount of $7,574.66.
Second. I have a motion by Mr. Moore and a second by Mr. Doyle. Seeing no questions or comments, I'll ask for a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
5-0.
the next item is change order number 21, and this is related to door hardware. We met and went over all the schedule for the doors. There were some changes that we needed to make, and there were some additions and subtractions, and it balanced out to, unfortunately, an addition on our side.
You need doors in police station?
What is the lock and everything?
And apparently they need locks.
Locks, yeah.
Mr. President, I will make a motion to approve change order 21 for the amount not to exceed $2,874.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Mr. Ramell, second by Mrs. Walls. Seeing no questions or comments, I'll ask for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. 5-0.
The next one is on the Southwood Trail project. As council is aware, we have acquired all of the property for that project. However, it took us longer than we had hoped to acquire that property, which affected the start date for the contractor on that. So what you have before you is officially change order number 1 on that, which adjusts the time for the contractor to complete that project.
I might have a connection. So I see on here, it says August 29th. And I think if Mr. Newport was here, we would flog him because he promised us July 4th. But
Multiple times.
yeah, I know. I think he did make a comment in our last call that he still felt like July was possible, but he wanted to be safe and extend. And the folks that are doing the work would not commit to having it done by
Correct.
the beginning of July, but he still thinks that's a possibility. And yeah, we might need to talk to Crossroads about donations for our Kephart Park.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve change order number 1 for Southwood Road and One Vapor Trail project.
Motion by Mrs. Paul, second by Mrs. Moore. Seeing no questions or comments, all those in favor? Aye. 5-0.
The next item, in council has a handout on the Kephart Park playground equipment. You have the quote for the playground equipment, and the design, proposed design for that playground equipment. We had a committee that worked on this design, and as you'll see, this is revision 6. So we've had lots of discussion on this project. The quote that you see is through Sourcewell. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have specifically on that portion or any other portion.
Maybe for those in the audience and those at home, you could explain what Sourcewell does and how
That works.
Yeah, how that works and why it's so important that we address this today.
So Sourcewell is a cooperative purchasing organization. They're actually a organization, and they send out requests for proposals, and they essentially qualify vendors for playground equipment, vehicles, basically many things that municipalities would look to purchase. And so they go through essentially the bidding process, and municipalities are then allowed to be members of that organization and take advantage of that purchasing power of having multiple organizations do that. So the quote that we have has gone through their organization and has been vetted that all equipment was included in that bid process. And so that process occurred.
So it handles the bidding process for us. So instead of us putting this out to bid and having to wait months to get the response back, this company does that. And it's certified and qualified by the state to do that for us. So it's a big benefit.
It's a very big benefit, and also through the large purchasing of multiple municipalities, it also is a price savings as opposed to just a one-off purchase.
And then we're doing
So
this
one of the
tonight
reasons why, so the quote that you have before you is valid for 30 days. That 30th day happens to be Friday. So as we know, in this environment, prices seem to go daily. So if there's an opportunity for us to purchase this at this price, before material costs go up again. I would like to do that. And this equipment, it was included in the financing cost that Mr. Stone presented earlier.
And this locks in this price,
And it blocked in that price,
if we so desire.
if you're so inclined.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to approve Mid-States Recreation for now $424,434 not to exceed, and for the president to sign the purchase order.
Motion by Mr. Rommel, second by Mrs. Qualls. Seeing no questions or comments, I'll ask for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0.
That's all I have, unless you have questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Seekers.
Just realized you had a wrong piece of paper, so I'm putting it off. I don't know your bond memo was due. You didn't get this.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good evening. First item I have tonight is continued bond cleanup of Wyncrest subdivision. These are conversion of performance bonds to maintenance for the Wyncrest sections 2, 3, and 4. Staff to go out and walk the addition with the developer. We're satisfied with the condition of the improvements at this point to convert those over to maintenance. I believe you have I gave you break sheets. Yeah, that should be one. Sorry. I'm just confusing everyone with that one.
Thank you.
That should make a lot more sense now.
We're accepting 3-year maintenance guarantees and we're releasing.
And releasing the performance.
Okay. Mr. Doyle really likes to make sure he's got that.
Yeah, gotta have these. Which ones released, which ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Do we need to release these all the same or can we release these all together? I'll make a motion to approve the release, the Wyncrest Section 2, Section 3, and Section 4 bonds.
Motion by Mr. Doyle, a second by Mrs. Qualls. Seeing no questions or comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
Also make a motion to accept Wyncrest Section 2, 3, and 4 maintenance bonds.
I'm thinking.
It's a raise. Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Doyle and a second by Mrs. Moore. She won the race. Seeing no questions or comments, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. 5-0. Shocking.
Next set of bonds I have for you are Highland Knoll Section 2. So this is also a conversion of maintenance bond, or performance bonds to maintenance bonds. The board accepted the maintenance bonds a few months back, or the board accepted performance bonds a few months back. We're now ready to convert those to maintenance. The one outlier being during the punch list, we did identify a stormwater issue that's being addressed by adding a new inlet and storm line. Thus, we're also asking a performance bond be accepted for that. I think I have it labeled as storm system addition on the cover sheet.
Any questions for Mr. Seekers?
We need a separate motion for that, for the water. Is that?
I think, correct me, but I think we can release the performance and then
Make it
accept the
clear,
bonds.
so two.
So be 3.
Yeah.
3.
Three.
Yeah, 3, yeah, 3. So let's first move, I'll make a motion to release the performance bonds for Highland Knoll Section 2.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Doyle, second by Mrs. Cole. Seeing no questions or comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. President, I also would move to accept the performance guarantee for the stormwater system addition.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Doyle, second by Mrs. Qualls. All those in favor?
Aye. Lastly, I'll make a motion to approve the 3-year maintenance guarantee for the bonds 1 through 9.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Doyle, second by Mrs. Qualls. Seeing no questions or comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
5-0.
And the last bond I have for you tonight is a right-of-way bond for a right-of-way permit 2943-2022. This is for the installation of Comcast fiber in the Morningside subdivision.
It's maintenance, you say maintenance.
This would be a performance bond.
Performance.
Yeah, work started, we did receive the bond. We issued the permit, we received the bond and bring that to council for acceptance.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to approve the performance bond 2943-2022 for, what was the? Morningside.
Motion by Mr. Ramell,
Second.
second by Mr. Doyle. Seeing no questions or comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
There's one I have to receive.
And Mr. Seagill's evening. Thank you. Chief?
You're up.
Good evening. James always gets so excited when it's something this bad. You're gonna be disappointed. Freaking. Statistics, I don't see anything glaring. I look over them. Of course, I look over them daily, but accidents are the same, overdoses are the same. I think the big glaring stuff, nothing major. It looks like calls are up, close to 100 from last year, or 50, close to 50 from last year. Traffic stops are down because of weather. It's nothing major, I don't think, to look at. But any questions about the statistics?
Are the construction crime numbers down because the permits are a little bit slower in the season?
It's that there's a real possibility, and I think some of the contractors have decided to wait to have things delivered a little later.
Yeah.
Instead of having giant skids of plywood sitting by the curb. So for weeks and weeks. That generally causes problems. You did ask me to dig up some stuff on alarms. What did we have last year on alarms? 10.
Was it last year or last?
That
was last year.
Yeah, we had alarm 6 this year, for this month.
Yeah.
So this month.
Dramatic increase.
Yeah. And then alarms were 1 from last year. So it could be alarm problems. It could be a lot of different reasons why. If you look at the alarms, they're not multiple alarms at the same place. Sometimes they are. Looks like the golf course has got a little problem out there, which they've had for years. We typically can run out there once or twice a month for alarms.
Hickory stick?
No, Hickory Stick,
When you say golf course, would you?
you're right. I'm talking about Bluff Creek Golf Course.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, because
Hickory
Hickory's
Stick.
not in your jurisdiction.
Yeah, I've seen it was on there an alarm call. It really should have been changed to an agency assist because it's not alarms.
Right.
But if somebody was close, then they would have probably went with the county, but that should have been changed to an agency assist. So you see how little things can happen that kind of skew them a little bit, but not a lot. But I mean, usually an overdose is an overdose, a crash with injury is a crash with injury. So county does not charge for alarms.
Okay.
Franklin never got back with me. Greenwood got back with me, and the mayor even had comment and said that that this alarm policy that they had written was not under his watch and it's very poorly written. And if we come up with a better one, then we should let him know about it.
That's from the mayor.
Yeah,
So what does this say?
give you a copy of it and you can look at it. Basically, it's if you have more than one alarm a year, they charge you $50. The town's clerk is in charge of collecting that $50. However, the town's clerk would not have access to that data. So at some point, our police department's gonna have to turn over that data to the town's clerk so they can kind of dig it up. And it goes into a late fee of $25. You have 30 days to pay it. It goes on and on and on about a lot of different scenarios. And then they want to fix, the police are in charge of making sure that the alarm is fixed. I agree with the mayor, it's a little bit poorly written, but if you're interested in that, we can throw something together with that. I'm not sure.
I mean, I think the thought was that we've seen an increase, and so if we're seeing multiple, like the same business happening over and over and over again, at some point in time, we might want to take some kind of punitive financial action towards them, right?
It's just like writing a speeding ticket.
Yeah.
People don't care. They just keep getting warnings. Until it gets in their pocket.
Yeah.
I can dig into it some more. I can bring a better written version of this, bring it to legal, or legal can make us one.
Let's work together on it.
He doesn't like my legal.
No, he doesn't like your writing
Okay.
style.
I get it.
Well, you take the first step.
And I have a walk on, I know you're gonna hate me for it, but, in November 30th, to be exact, we ordered a $3,274.14 radio from Motorola. It was approved in that council meeting before that, whatever that date was in November. So we still haven't received it. We have the cars and we need a radio. So I started digging in to it a little bit more. They have no idea when it's gonna ship because they don't have it. It's nothing special. It's just an 800 radio that's in all cop cars. So I don't understand. I think it's because we only ordered one and we didn't order 10. We use a vendor called J&K now that sells a Kenwood radio. It's compatible, does the same thing. It talks on an 800 system. It's no difference at all, except for the fact that it's a little, no, the other way. It's 2511. So the only real reason I'm bringing this to you is I have permission to order it in November. I figured you wouldn't care about the switch if we're gonna save money. I just wanted to be transparent.
Do we need more than one at
this point, no.
And we didn't pay for that one yet.
Yeah, we did. We had it encumbered. So now they're gonna send us a check.
Are you okay with that, Nancy?
Would you like a refund, man?
I love refunds.
We already paid for it. We had it encumbered because I didn't want it to affect the next year's budget because it was for last year's car. Obviously, we didn't get last year's car last year. Still don't have last year's car, but anyway.
That's another
That's
conversation.
a whole other conversation. But we do have 3 cars and I am gonna need one of these radios. And J&K said they could get it in 6 weeks. So, which is still be fine.
I think it's compatible. and
It is
the job.
possible. It's not gonna, county has some of the Kenwoods. It has a longer warranty than Motorola does, so. Here's my question. We are, we absolutely are.
Here's my question. Does the radio get here first or the check? From Motorola?
Probably the radio will get here before the check does, I would say. Yeah, unfortunately.
Is that a motion? Can we do it by consensus? Consensus?
Continue. Okay.
Yeah.
Carry.
Thank you very much.
Consensus to save money.
That's it.
Mr. Kevin?
You've been so quiet.
I was gonna say, it's
I didn't
so
know to see one.
Meeting tonight. First item is an increase in the purchase order to cover a project. The council approved the new blower equipment for the North Treatment Plant. I thought that I included with the quote, the line item for expedited shipping. And that was not included. So an invoice came in that was flagged. So I'm back to ask for approval of additional expenses. So this was a quick ship program from the manufacturer, which cost us $5,000. Certainly didn't want to, so we won't have to pay that, but with today's market, it was necessary. So our total invoice is $36,134.80. And it's installed, it's here, it's getting ready to be turned over to us. So, and there's also a $5.80 surcharge on fuel. The new total is $36,134.80.
So this is really just an additional $5,005.80.
Correct.
Okay.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to approve an additional $5,005.80 for the expedited shipping for the water plant. Lower.
Motion by Mr. Mel, second by Mrs. Moore. Any no questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you. Next item is to buy 2 more licenses for our GIS department for the 2 interns that you'll have starting here soon. So this allows them the ability to do the GIS collection and interaction and so forth. And Rick, GIS has done all the research on this, so it's an additional $5,500 to purchase 2 additional Esri software licenses for the interns.
Is this an annual cost or is it one time?
Let me look here. If possible, it's annual.
The reason why I asked that is just, let's make sure we budget it. If it is annual, when we do approve it, let's make sure we put that in the budget for next year. Absolutely, that we know.
I don't see it right away, but we certainly will make sure that that is included, because we do plan to continue this program.
Right. It's a good program and we want to continue it. We need to be able to make sure we're funding.
Make a motion for $500 for 2 ESRI software licenses for 2 GSI interns.
Motion by Mrs. Cole, second by Mr. Dorr.
Everybody's racing. Got it.
Seeing no questions or comments, all those in favor? Aye. Five.
Next item is to approve spending some dollars of the SRF wastewater construction loan, the amount of $15,466. So this is to cover the upgrade of 2 pumps on site that allows us to decant or run the water out of the ponds much faster than what we're currently doing. And that will speed up our main lift station project because we've had to delay that due to the rain. In fact, I can only pump 230 gallons a minute, and this will double that pumping capacity and would come out of those loan proceeds.
How many more years do we have to send that?
We'll finish it up this year because we've got about a little over 600,000, I believe, in the main lift station. We have a change order coming soon on that, but that's going to be 460,000. And this is 16,000, so we'll exhaust it this year.
This year. Because we only have,
I think we only have until the end of next year, isn't it?
how many do you remember?
I think so.
Wasn't there, there's
There's a time limit on it. But I think it is 2 years, so. if he's been-
and the plant was certified and completed 15 months ago?
It's possible. I don't have it in front of me.
Wasn't it? If you don't mind, maybe for our next admin meeting, confirming how much is left and what your budget is so that we make sure that those funds are spent.
We can,
I know that's not usually a problem for your department.
cover that when I bring you the change order, so we
Yeah.
know what's left in the time period.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to approve the lift station pump replacement amount not to exceed $15,466.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Doyle, second by Mr. Knoll. Any more questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye.
Thanks, and Rob, thanks for getting to us, and it's obviously it's on the devil, so thank you for doing that. Setting the calendar.
Do you have any additional items?
No.
I knew it. It's not spending any money.
Oh,
Just another maintenance fund that transfer ownership. So this is to accept transfer of ownership for Meadows at Bellevue Section 1. And then in the packet is a maintenance bond. The bond number, it goes back, that's the number. I can hand it to Dustin because he usually will do these bonds for us, so.
So we're approving this
Maintenance bond and transfer of ownership.
Mr. President, I'd like to approve the subdivision maintenance bond for Meadows at Bellevue, section 1 for the water main, and accept the performance bonds.
I think they're typically titles of transfer of ownership,
Right. And approve the transfer of ownership of these bonds.
I'll second that.
motion by Mr. Doyle, second by Mr. Romell. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye. Aye. 5-0, one button.
any questions?
Thank you.
Breakfast with the Bunny.
Yep.
Sorry.
Saturday
Just
morning.
remind everybody, Breakfast with the Bunny from 3 to noon at Newport Grove. It's $10 for adults, $7.50 for 18 and under. And then 2 and under is free. And then there is a free Easter egg hunt at $12.15 for all the residents.
Mr. Greenwood will be.
I will not.
I'm not happy with it.
No.
And I see Betty up here, so our farmer's market will be starting soon. So we're excited about that. Any application sheets into Crystal? I'll make a motion to adjourn. Nobody else has anything?